G'day viewers. Ooh, scary close-up. Apologies if you've got a large HD screen or something. I wonder if you can see the weird blemishes I got on my face on New Year's Eve. And I don't know what the source was. The two variables on that night, cat saltwater swimming pool, maybe it's a reaction to that. The amount of alcohol I drank, maybe a reaction to that. But it's not going away in a hurry, and I'm really conscious of it, so hopefully it's not showing up too grotesquely on your screen. Maybe the rest of the grotesqueness will distract you from it. But yes, there's a reason for the close-up besides scaring you. So I want you to see something clearly. This is something I've wanted to do for a while. There's a news story that pushed me to doing it now. And this is the idea of crying on command or acting. And this came out because when US President Obama made his speech about he's going to take certain executive action on gun control, and he had tears at several times talking about the victims of the terrible gun massacres in the US. And there was, wow, just some really disgusting reactions from conservative pundits in the US. Like, yes, it's possible to fake tears. In this case, I think that's implausible. And the particular weirdness of some Fox News presenters saying things like, oh, check the podium for a raw onion. Lol, that's not how it works, dickhead. The presence of a raw onion doesn't create tears. You have to be chopping it, and people would notice. And just the particular weird fuckness of, why is he crying? Well, you sociopathic fucking monster, because he's talking about appalling things. And then wanting to pull it back to, oh, why isn't he lot like this about terror? It's going, he's talking about a real problem that's orders of magnitude greater than your terrorism, bogeyman. It's not that that doesn't exist, but literally more people were killed by toddlers with guns in the US last year than were killed by terrorists. That includes, if you count the San Bernardino shootings, which was awful. But if you want to really say, oh, why didn't he care about that? Because it, in very real terms, is not a problem on par with gun violence in America. With 30 people being murdered a day on average from fucking guns. You know, it's a big deal. And, oh, why did he cry about Sandy Hook? Look, like I said, what happened in San Bernardino was fucking awful. But any sane, rational human is going to say the school kid massacre in Sandy Hook was emotionally orders of magnitude worse. It's just, what is fucking wrong with these people? Like, they're sociopaths, as far as I can tell. But the whole idea, I wanted to show that I can cry. And a little bit of a background. Aidsy and I actually did the same theatre degree. That's where we met many years ago, like 6 years ago when we were both 18. We met at college and we did the same theatre course. And we learned a range of styles from Commedia dell'arte to the more modern Stanislavski school, which was adapted in the US, what they call the method acting model. And when you're doing that style of acting where you're trying to be naturalistic, the big driver is if you can believe the scene. If you can really believe it, then that comes across. So when you see these wacky stories about method actors like Meryl Streep or Daniel Day-Lewis, why are they doing that crazy intense thing? Because they are trying to generate a real emotion by really feeling they're in a real thing. They're obviously not in a real thing. It's ridiculously artificial, but they're trying to create an illusion for themselves, and sometimes they go to great lengths for this. There are various cheats around this too. One that works for me, and this is one I'm going to try and use here. In theory, I think I can do this, but I've never actually tried to do it. Is that strange? I think that's a little bit strange, but I'm going to do it. And one of the good cheats you can learn as an actor is sense memory. Now, this is what a lot of people are accusing Obama of acting. I think the simplest answer is that he's actually upset by the things. But you can fake it when you're supposed to be upset about something you're not upset about by remembering something that did upset you. This is where some people just go, no, you just act. And yes, in the purest form, just believing it and acting is, the pure goal for actors. But you can fake it by remembering when you felt like you're meant to feel in the situation. So, to make tears happen, you get weird things told to you. People say the weirdest shit, like pull out a nostril hair or rub some liniment in your eye. These are damaging things. Or if you're really good at sleight of hand, you can use some fake tears and have a little thing where you palm it and squeeze it and then tears run down your cheek. That's kind of obvious. So actually making real tears come out your eyes without any artifice. Sense memory works. So this is where I think of something that triggers me emotionally. This is where you'll get in. Don't go to movies that have emotional things with me if you don't want me to be a mess, okay? They really get to me. Things like, the ones that get to everyone, like the start of the Pixar movie Up. But I'm going to take off the glasses so you can see first how bloodshot my eyes are, but see them unshielded. And I'm going to use the sense memory idea for one of the most moving scenes for me is at the end of The Iron Giant, an animated film for, it's from a while ago, 10 years ago, longer. Cell animation's really good. And towards the end, there's this beautiful bit that's a callback to an earlier scene in the movie. In an earlier scene, and this is spoilers, okay? Turn the volume down if you don't want spoilers and just watch me cry. In an earlier scene, a kid who's trying to teach this giant robot concepts says to him, don't follow me back to town because you'll freak people out. I go, you stay, no following. In the climactic scene, a fairly deranged paranoid guy has set off a nuclear missile. He's got a sub to fire a missile at this town, and he had some misguided idea that he'd be safe and the robot would be destroyed. Obviously, it's a nuclear missile. Everyone's going to die. And the kid, Hogarth, explains to the robot what's going to happen. Missile is going up. When it comes down, everyone will die. And when the kid would play with the robot, this is another callback they do, it'd be comic characters. The kid wants to be a hero, and he wants the robot to be the villain from a comic called Metallo, the Metal Man, Metal Monster. But the robot wants to be Superman. He wants to be a hero. He doesn't want to be bad. So the robot decides to go up into space. And I can feel it working, so watch the eyes. I'd have to not say these things. I'd have to think them internally if I was acting. But I'm explaining it to you as I do it. So the kid explains what's happening to the robot, and the robot says he's going to go, and the kid's upset, doesn't want the robot to be wiped out by a nuclear bomb. The robot says to the kid, I go, you stay, no following. And the ultimate moment for me, the robot flies up, because the robot can fly, and he intercepts the nuclear missile, like smashes into it to detonate it. And just at the point of detonation, he closes his eyes and says, Superman. Normally, if you went to a movie with me, I'd suppress this a little bit, because I am a manly man, but I'm deliberately not holding back. So you've got a waver in my voice. This is the thing. Tears help, and that I can feel they haven't come out of my eyes. My eyes are kind of full, but they haven't run down my face. But you have the waver in my voice. Like if I was doing an acting thing, I'd try and remember that while talking to get that waver. And this has not been completely successful, but if I go through it again, the robot says to the kid, he's going to go up and block the missile. I go, you stay, no following. And he launches himself into the nuclear missile. And at the final moment, as he's sacrificing himself, he closes his eyes and says, Superman. Now no one's ever going to believe if I'm ever emotional about something. Honestly, I don't think I would do an emotional video. I do. The angry stuff is performance for people who've never worked that out. I switch that off and on, and some of my friends have been weirded out when they've watched me doing stuff, how quickly I can do it. The things I say are almost always things I believe, but the angry stuff is performance for either emphasis or comedic effect. But yes, now if I ever get emotional, people are not necessarily going to believe me, because you see how I can work it up. So I didn't actually get tears to run down my face, but my eyes are a bit wet. So yeah, my argument is the reason Obama had tears is because he was genuinely sad about what had happened, because he's a fucking human, and I just don't think he's that good an actor. Because actually just forcing tears to come out of your eyes is quite difficult.